Hi, welcome back to the Jack and Glenn channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you miss any of our reviews. Today we're reviewing Ready to Love, the whole reunion. We know we missed last week doing the reunion, so we're going to cover part 1 and part 2 in this Ready to Love reunion recap. So just sit back and relax. We're not going to be on here on this thing long, but we do want to recap part 1 and part 2 of the Ready to Love reunion. So, where do you want to start at?
I don't know. Go ahead.
All right, let's start with one of the big explosions from Ready to Love. We had to start with Charisse and Zoe from Ready to Love this past from reunion part 1, where Tommy was talking about the Zoe and Charisse situation. He was talking about how they were doing, and Zoe blew up. He called her fake as F. As me, as a man, you shouldn't be cussing a woman out, right? I know Charisse gets on people's nerves. She rubs people the wrong way, get underneath for people's skin. But I thought Zoe was totally out of line. Totally out of line to go off on Charisse, African-American woman, for him as a black man to be able to go off like that. I'm not saying, and whether she was African-American or not, for him as a man to go off like that, to be calling her out her name, to bring up some stuff that happens on the blogs about her running somebody over, hitting them with the car. I thought it was kind of immature for him. Mm-hmm. Really immature as a man to be able to do that and to just put her out there like that. It wasn't cool. Not at all. Not at all for Zoe. Zoe got upset. If you watch it, Zoe got upset. Zoe left. Very childish. Very, very childish.
I would just say, we know that Charisse got her stuff to her, but yeah, for Zoe to repeat the same conversation that they had that night at the pool hall, playing pool or whatever, yeah, he called her fake AF, then he calls her fake AF on the reunion, and everybody's like, wow, because he really went in on her, and it was just crazy. Like, Tommy tried to calm it down, but
couldn't do it.
And then it wasn't that so much that Zoe left from, because then him and Swayze got into it backstage.
Yeah. Zoe
was talking trash. Swayze was like, who you talking to? And it wasn't even, I don't even want to say he was talking trash. He made a slick comment.
Yeah.
And Swayze was like, bro, who you talking to? Don't play with me like that. And so Zoe left. I don't need this show to get no money. I got a $35
million portfolio.
This don't make me or break me. I'm leaving. And he left. But the funny part is, again, before he left, him and Swayze got into it. And so, Swayze's in the hallway, if it's all that, bruh, they walk right past each other. A lot of people's behaviors on these reunions, I just be like, how old are you? I just really be like, how old are you?
Yeah. You gotta ask that question. Because some people...
And that wasn't the only one. The only explosion. I was like, really? But...
Nah, it was other explosions. You had the whole Katie and the Shakira situation. Shakira, how Katie was like, look, I didn't mention what your situation was. I didn't tell the men of your past problems or your past situation or your past issues. I just mentioned while I was at that setting that you may not want to do that, or you may not want to say that around there. And Shakira still couldn't accept, Katie's apology. Kind of like Shakira likes to be the victim.
But let's be real. Katie gave a halfway apology. You know what I'm saying? And truthfully, she didn't tell the girl's business. She didn't say it right there. She alluded to it. But what she said in the ladies' lounge about it, she was like, if you put your business out there, if you don't want it to be said, you shouldn't have said nothing. Right. Which I disagree with. But yeah, I don't think Shakira played the victim so much. It was just and I think Kayla touched on it, maybe not there, but just period. It's like, come on black people, black women, come on, let's do better on TV. in real life. Let's do better.
But a lot of people didn't think what Katie said was a big deal anyway. a lot of the other cast members didn't think what she said was a big deal because they were like, she really didn't put anything out. That it was just something that, hey, this is where she mentioned it. And at that time, if you go back to, he rehashed that episode, Shakira was feeling Mike at the time. They were sitting there, they was having a conversation, conversing, and Katie alluded to abuse. And where Shakira had shared it in the confines of the women's lounge. Mm-hmm. And, and she felt that Katie had broke the trust of the women's lounge. And that was the beginning of the end for Shakira. Mm-hmm. That she just couldn't get right after that. They had another incident when they were all sitting outside I can't remember, it was a mixer or something Tommy had at the house. And they all just went their separate ways. Shakira and her. Her and Katie will never be best friends. I don't think Katie will be best friends with anybody on this show.
No, I was about to say.
I don't think she'd be best friends
with nobody.
I don't think she'd be best friends with anybody, so I don't think a friend thing is what she's looking for. Mm-mm. It's not what she's looking for, but her and Shakira are not going to be there. So it was a mess on that standpoint too. But then we get to
hold on, but while you're right there too, okay. But remember also, so of course Shakira and Katie had their rub, but they even talked about the thing with Charisse, talking about Dominica. Yeah, is that her stage name? And she was like, I could have been talking about you being a performer, and she was like, listen. Where I'm from, no, when you say stage name, that's like stripper. That's like a dancer. Come on, don't play like you didn't know that's what you were saying. And Charisse was apologetic. She didn't mean it like that or whatever. But Dominica was like, I just didn't appreciate the being stereotyped because the way her personality is. She made it like sometimes people like to put her in that category, like, don't do me like that. She said, I wasn't the only one that was loud and just that kind of personality. So why you gotta say that about me? Because
we all know Charisse is a mess. Charisse likes in this way, and I look at it, she kind of like start fires and then just put it out. Because when she came there at the beginning of this Ready to Love season, she was the hothead. She was the one who wanted to poke the bear, poke which woman could she see. And even with the whole situation with Katie, and when we get to that, she kind of poked Katie in a little bit at the table, and they was kind of going when they went back and forth. So it was both childish. I think she was a little bit childish. You don't even know this girl, right? You don't even know her, but yet you want to say her name as a stage name. Well, how about the way that you spell your name? Because somebody could say with hood, ghetto. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Let's not judge people by the book or by their names, and that's what other people do. It was, to me, I thought it was petty, high schoolish, and childish. But they still hadn't hashed their stuff out neither. Charisse doesn't have a lot of friends from this neither, so I guess she might have came for some friends, but I don't think she has a lot after this. Then we go to the lover. Want to go to the lover boy?
Yeah.
The Island Nine. My man LJ. LJ, the lover guy. From the season.
Somebody said you got it going on.
LJ, the lover man. We know if the biggest thing with LJ was that LJ had brought was the meet your friend situation, and LJ brought his friend to meet your ex. Meet your ex, and LJ.
Everybody said it'd be a fresh ex.
And it'd be a fresh ex, but it was a fresh ex because Shorty was still sleeping with LJ.
What? Not sleeping with?
Slept with LJ. Very recently. In which put Kayla and everyone else on edge at the table. But we come to find out that LJ still has this young lady in his life. Mm-hmm. That he's still involved with her some type of way. And not only he's involved with her, but he's involved with the other women as well. That's on the show. Everybody got LJ has a date for everybody, right? Trey Nika has a day, and Looney has a day, and Shakira has a day, and you get a day, you get a day, and you get a day. And LJ is loving everybody. Come to find out that LJ is loving everybody here on this panel.
I'm going to say this and we can keep moving. I don't get it. So, next. I just don't get it.
Why not?
I don't see the draw. I don't. I don't see the draw. Yeah. But, he seemed like a nice guy, but other than that, I don't see the draw. Not for me, and he ain't got to be for me, but the fact that he's drawn all these women and each one of them got a day. Just
Trinique has a day, Sharice has a day, Looney has a day.
Not to jump ahead, but then later on, the rest of the reunion, you know, him and Trinica sitting there, you know, arm in arm.
Yeah, they're together. Well, not together, but one thing about this, Shakira said, I do not share. Shakira said, you know what? I'm not sharing anybody. You want to be with me? Be with me. If you're going to be with them, but I'm not sharing. So we find out that LJ has been mixing with everybody else. All right. Then they talk about, and for those who are just joining us, we're reviewing part 1 and part 2 of Ready to Love. We didn't do a part 1 last reunion. Ready to Love reunion. Didn't do one last week, so we're combining 1 and 2 together. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we just want to give you an update on that. Then part 1, they go to Mike, Kayla, and Brandy. Mm-hmm. Which you can clearly see that Brandy and Mike are in love. That Brandy and Mike are together. You can see how Kayla's still hating a little bit.
What did I tell you? Between part 1 and part 2, I was getting, just not to that extreme, I was getting a lot of Camille vibes. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of faces. It was a lot of eye rolling. Now, Katie did her share too. But Kayla, I mean, when Jamala was talking, with the Brandy and Mike thing, when it came to the Randall thing later, I was just like, wow. Kayla, her face. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she rolled her eyes, everything that was said regarding Randall or Mike. Her two connections, because if you watch the show, Randall and Mike both had her on the outside. She was on the outside looking in. She was everybody's number 2, right? Or some cases, somebody's number 3. And she was never really number 1. They just strung her along and had her along just so there was somebody to choose or to make some kind of drama at the end. And she really thought she was in this relationship with Mike. She really thought she was really deep with Mike. She really thought she was deep with Randall. But in this case, we come to find out that those dudes didn't have her at any case. She still feels some type of way about both of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially in reunion part 1, is the Mike situation. Still, her and Mike had deep conversations. They were talking deep. They had good things. She really thought Mike was gonna choose her.
Well, and yeah, what he said later was, he was like, him and Brandy hit it off from the jump. He was feeling her, and not that he didn't have a connection with Caleb, but that was always his number 1 thing. It was there was attraction there with Caleb, but it was just something stronger. It's like, in the episode, which I hate that she carried it like that. She was like, but okay, so if I'm the fun one, if I'm the exciting one, that makes, so Brandy's like the wife and I'm the side, and so what does that mean? She's old and tired and
yeah.
She tried to carry it like that, but in the end she was like, it hurts to be rejected. It does, but I mean, I wasn't for them. It is what it is.
Yeah, but you gotta realize she was caught up in that love triangle 2 ways. She caught up both ways, and she just couldn't maneuver or push herself to the top. There was something, and we get to the Randall thing when we get in part 2. Mike just didn't see her as, I want to say wifey material. And I'm gonna say that wifey material because Mike was once married. Mm-hmm. And Mike is looking for marriage again, and Mike is looking for a relationship again. And he just didn't see Kayla as the person that he wanted to marry. And I know it's not Married at First Sight, it's Ready to Love. He just couldn't see her taking that next step with him, and so Mike decided that he had to go elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And that person was Brandy. You saw that from first day 1, right? Mm-hmm. When he hooked up, when he saw Brandy at the mixer, he knew, like, you know what? This is who I want to be with. This is the girl that I need to be with. I want to be with her. And we saw that all the way around. And then we know how this ended. If you watched episode 1 of the reunion, you see how it ended with Katie and Sharice going back and forth. They got into multiple verbal altercations. Talking about being friends, not being friends, who was being fake, who wasn't being fake. If you touch me, I'm gonna hit you. If you do this, you ain't gonna hit me. And it just got nasty, which made Kayla say what you said earlier. Can we all just get along? Can black women be black women? I can't remember who switched seats with them so they can calm down. as we go into part 2. I can't remember.
I can't remember who wanted to switch the seats, but I just wanted to touch on there real quick. Who was it that Mike had to confront an issue with? Was that Dominica?
Yeah.
Also, and Mike jokingly was like, "Nah, I ain't done, Tommy," but he was with the situation hashing that out. I think it was Dominica, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
but I think a lot of people had an issue too. If you think you had an issue, leave it in the chat. With Tommy, well, like Tommy, why did you calm Zoe down? Or why did you really get involved when this man was, attacking in essence this woman? How come we didn't deal with the issue of Zoe calling her out her name while we was at the pool hall or bringing up his behavior? Why did we just didn't see any of those things that took place? Why we didn't talk to Calvin? He was just on the stage, right? We didn't.
didn't talk to him.
Didn't talk to Calvin at all. Like, who's Calvin? So there's some things that could have happened in part 1 that the viewer could have got more of. And I know they try to stretch these things out, but if you're gonna do a reunion, give us more pieces, right? Like April wasn't on there a long time and things of that nature. So like, who was Sean, right? So I mean, Sean was the guy who didn't want to see his son. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
See, you forgot. See, so but he's
they didn't do a whole lot with him. Matter of fact, I don't even remember seeing him. Was he still on the stage at the end?
He might not have been. I mean,
I don't think I saw him out there at the end.
So it's just those type of things where they could have just did some more with people and open up more about the show. And Tommy could have addressed more, especially with the Zoe. To me, I think being addressed with Zoe was a big issue to me at that time. And even when we got to part 2, where you had, as we continue part 2, you had Sharice and Katie and still going at it. Like, let's address the anger, the hostility. What's going on? Why are y'all so mad at each other? What's the real underlying issue here? It was Katie, and I mean that clip is funny where her going, rawr. I'm sorry.
You a big bad bully.
Yo, that's hilarious to me. That's one of that will go down as one of the greatest reality clips for me because that's funny, right? I am, But anyway, like address some of the issue because again, everybody was talking about it. Kayla talked about it. Who else said it at the end? We want to be positive black people. We're excellence, and we want to put on a good showing on this show. But we say that, people say that, but at the end of the day, you are who you are. Mm-hmm. Your behavior dictates who you are, and we saw in here that not saying none of them are bad people. That behavior just became too much. It became a lot.
Yeah.
It became a lot, and so there we go with those two.
Yeah, I just want to go back to that. Like, that whole interaction was terrible. And it wasn't just Sharice and Katie and, other people chimed in. And, Katie is like, man, I beat all y'all tails.
Yeah.
Sharice, like, jump, if you feeling froggy leap type stuff. And I was just like, again, how old are y'all? Katie and talking about I didn't come here for no friends. She was still on that. She
got her man though.
Semi. It didn't look like it was gonna be that. They got to that in the part 2 of the reunion, but I was just like Kayla got teary. I think that was a bit much. Like, I'm not gonna get teary eyed, but she got teary. Like, come on, y'all, just like not. Why are we doing this?
She wasn't down for the whole. She.
But her and Jamal are messy. They just did what they showed off. They showed off a little later when it came to Randall.
They did.
Trinika showed off too.
But she just didn't get to the point where.
Yeah, when they didn't make no threats.
They making threats, and you had two people who two hotheads who was getting ready to rumble.
And it's almost like this is the thought that came to me before, and I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it now. You would think they would get along and have a whole mean girl crew, because they're mean girls, both of them. You know what I'm saying? They could Wonder Twins power activate. You know what I'm saying? But
the alpha females. I mean, sometimes alpha females bump heads too.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But that's what I'm saying. Usually, the mean girls that. I might not like you, or you might not like me, but we both don't like them.
Right, but they didn't have a common enemy. They hate each
Or
other.
everybody. They both. That was their common enemy. Everybody.
I give you that.
They said they was the only ones that was trying to be friends and connect. But you know, on the show, Katie was like, not before the reunion, Katie was like, I wasn't trying to be your friend. Those was just words.
That's what she said.
That struck a nerve with Sharice too. You know, when they talked about that on reunion. But anyway, so.
Yeah, just words. So then we get to Justice. Everybody likes Justice, right? Everybody, when Justice first came in, everybody wanted a piece of Justice. Everybody, when they showed the vignette of how girls, oh, look who walked in here. And looked how, until it got to Justice started talking. And Justice started saying, I'm not chasing none of y'all. Y'all gonna chase me.
A mess.
I ain't spending no money on none of y'all.
A mess.
I'm trying to build some friendships. And we're gonna try to have a level playing field here.
A mess.
Justice was like, "Hey, this is what I'm trying to do."
A mess.
And people were like, "Okay," and they realized they'll end up sending Justice home. But then we come to find out that Justice and Looney had created a nice relationship outside of, or on Ready to Love and outside of Ready to Love, and that their communication had kind of stopped on the outside of Ready to Love, and everybody was getting involved. I believe Katie was on the set there, and Kayla was on the set there, and Looney as well. And as they was talking about it, Katie was asking Justice, like, what happened? Why do y'all stop corresponding? What happened? And, you know, and to me, it seemed like every time Justice talks, he talks in circles.
Yeah, it's like so deep it's almost shallow. It's so deep it's shallow. You know what I'm saying?
It is deep. It's definitely deep. It's definitely shallow. But he was saying, I want to be chased. I do want love. But I want somebody to chase me. I want somebody to be involved with me, and I want to kind of build a relationship there. And I like Looney, but I stepped back because I didn't know where she was at. I stepped back because I didn't want to hurt her. I stepped back because I didn't want to pursue so much. And she was like, "Well, you stepping back made me step back, and you stopped talking to me." We saw a vignette when she stormed off. He wanted to try to talk to her. She didn't want to talk to him, but we didn't later on see them out in the parking lot, maybe on a break or something. And she was like, "Look, I enjoy talking to you. I liked you." And he was really flirtatious and giving her some comforting words and like, "Yo, let's try again, basically. You want to go out and get something to eat?" And we see them hugging up and cuddling. And
because he was, you know, it was like, even, I felt like, you know, we lost the friendship, you know, I'm like, can we gain that back? But then, can I take you out? And, you know, she was with it again at the end. They was hugged up. They was some of the ones that was hugged up. But I think what Justice touched on and Randall touched on a little bit is obviously the process is rushed.
Yeah.
You know, and you want to whittle it down to somebody you want to connect with main, but also having other connections is the point of it. And so Justice felt kind of rushed in the process from what he usually does. So
he was. He said the cameras messed with him a little bit. The process. He wanted to date one person, but he got to talk to this person here. Talk, like you said, talk to that person, and it was just the process that was too, like you said, too much. He couldn't handle the process, and so now without the process, he think him and Looney can have a decent relationship. Well, only time will tell. Let's see. Let us know what y'all think. Do you think Justice and Looney relationship can flourish? And then, there's a lot of relationships that didn't hook up on the show that we see now hooking up. And some of them are flourishing, and some of them are not. So we go to Samson next, because it was talking about Samson, him and Sharice's situation, and how he didn't open up to her per se, and how Samson said he was the one that held Sharice there. Well, but he's the reason that she stayed there, because the rest of the guys was like, basically, let's get rid of her. Well,
let me go back to the first thing they talked about with Samson was the fact that, he gave all the women gifts.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the gift thing, yes.
He went all the women gifts that he was trying to connect with and that he went out on dates with, and how that kind of put a bad taste in some of the women's mouths, because it's like, oh, you give everybody gifts. And he was like, I'm a Southern gentleman. That I was always taught, if somebody is giving you their time, you make it worth their time and you give them a gift of appreciation. He said, so that's what it was. It wasn't it wasn't trying to make it something that it wasn't. It was just, just me being a gentleman. And Looney acknowledged that, Samson, that's what I got from him. He's a Southern gentleman, being polite. And she said, I appreciate it. Samson was like, I know some people, the gifts I gave them, they got them growing in their houses, flourishing. Yeah. And Looney was like, me?
Yeah. What is wrong with a man giving a woman a gift? I mean, when you meet with them, when you interact, why people have a problem? I understand on this show, they want to make them feel like they're special. But there's some people who bring gifts. It's like it was a plant. It wasn't like it was a diamond ring. Right. It wasn't like it was a Coach bag or some red bottoms. It was like either a plant, a book, a journal, or something of that nature, just to show, hey, you're spending time with me. I'm gonna spend time with you, and I appreciate you for spending time with me because you don't have to do it.
Or like Looney said, the gift was reflective of the fact that he was listening, paying attention, because he didn't give them something that wasn't pertinent.
Correct.
That wasn't relevant. But what it goes to is like Cherie said, when you're giving everybody gifts, like people want to feel like they're special, like I'm ahead of the pack. But Samson's thing was, I don't think nobody was telling their other connections about their other connections.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily pinning down and saying, you're my one. Mm. Everybody wasn't doing that.
But why you want to be ahead of the pack? You on the show and you know there's 9 other women.
See, that's the thing. So you want me to narrow it down to one, but I also have to have several connections, or else I can't remain on the show. And like the goal is not to necessarily remain on the show, but that's the premise. Like you have multiple connections. We've interviewed other participants before, and that's what they said. That's the producers will ask you, who are your top 3?
Right.
It's like even if you will only have one, it's almost like you gotta say I got 2 or 3.
But Justice kind of kept that to his chest because
Samson
kept that to his chest because he did have Charisse, but he had Brandy for a while as well. Mm-hmm. And Brandy felt like he didn't open up enough for her. Well, he was just friends. It became like they were just friends. They're cool. He was very attractive. She liked him. But it was like more of a friend situation than anything else. And so Samson had a couple. And Charisse should have been sitting home. Remember, Charisse was on the bottom a lot. And she was on the bottom a couple times. And so now Samson was like, hey, I helped with the guys when they wanted to get rid of you. And she's like, well, ain't no other guys say that. Ain't nobody tell me that.
And that was the thing I had a problem with. She didn't say that on the stage.
It was backstage.
She said it backstage. And I was like, but they did. Everybody talked about, investigator Charisse. Mm-hmm. Your personality, your kind of attitude, and I don't mean attitude like in a bad way, you know what I'm saying, necessarily, but truth of the matter is Samson was fighting for her in some of those, men's lounges.
Yeah, he was.
He was, because that was his connection.
And he was saying, I'm trying to put in the work for you. I want to spend time with you. I will call you in the morning time, right?
Yeah.
I'll be the one. And who would you talk to late at night? It will be me. I'm giving you everything. She like, you were talking to other women too. I'm supposed to, Tommy's telling me to explore.
But what his point was, who am I talking to first thing in the morning? Charisse. Who am I talking to last one at night? Charisse. And who am I talking to the most in between? Charisse. Yes, I'm talking to these other people. And Charisse's thing was, but they didn't know that.
But do I have to tell them? That's the biggest thing.
But they did know.
They all knew.
They knew.
My thing is like, do I have to tell you? But she wanted him to say, you're my number one.
To claim me.
To claim her. She wanted to be loved. No, I don't even want to say love. She just wanted to be claimed.
I think Mike said
she didn't say love. She wanted to be claimed.
I think Mike said it the best. Mike said, she has standards on the way she wants to be pursued.
Yes.
You have standards also in the way that you pursue. And they just didn't line up, and it came down to who's going to bend to the other person.
Yeah.
And in this case, I don't know. Being that it's in the process, I think Charisse didn't grasp that concept as much. So she really should have been bending a little.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, I understand that. She could have been bending just a little bit to get that, and he could have done a little bit more too. But from her standpoint, I think she realized if a man is spending time with you, if he's giving you his time, and if he's giving you time and quality time, not just talking about anything, but he's giving you quality time and he likes you, right? She didn't see him spending time with anybody else, right? I'm sure the same lounge she was in, did his name come up like Samson spending time with me too? Or me and Samson went out, or me and Samson had a date. If that's the case, if that case is no, then you already his number one. You're his girl in essence. Because y'all go to this lounge and y'all talk and y'all do all these things, so if no one brings it up, then guess what? You his boo.
But the shocker was after that, Tommy's like, "What's going on with you, Samson?" And he was like, "I got a girlfriend."
Somebody at church.
She was like,
Sharice thought she still had the door open.
Well, that's shocking. Because, after the fact, he was like, want to try to work something out with us. And then sarcastically, very facetiously, well, that's good for him. I'm happy for him, and he was like, thank you. But it was somebody from church. They've been friends. And after the process, I guess he was like, why have I not been looking at this person?
Why not?
Might as well.
Let me go ahead and pursue this.
And he said, we've been dating exclusively. And she was like,
she's taken back because she knows she let a good one go. She, in my opinion, right? She know that she let a good person go because she was hung up on the fact that he couldn't claim her and say she was his number one. He was gonna choose her at the end. He was gonna choose. He didn't want to choose anybody else.
Even the day when she was like, she came to figure out if I'm gonna eliminate him or not. He was like, I want to know what's up with us. That's what I'm focused on. That's what you should be focused on. Don't worry about what I'm doing with nobody else. Worry about what I'm doing with you. Worry about yourself.
He would try to solidify their relationship there, and she was really caught up with the fact that he didn't claim her. Mm-hmm. But you're on this competition show. That's what keeps coming in my mind. You know the person's going to be with other people. They're going to have other relationships, and I guess at the point it was that she wanted to be claimed. So we'll see. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. I understand it.
So segue, same thing with poor Randall. Lord, poor Randall. Randall just looked beat up. Randall looked beat up like, I'm just tired of this.
Yeah. He
picked Jamala at the end, but him and Jamala are. Tommy's like, where are y'all now? We're figuring it out.
We all figuring it out. He's figuring it out because he's figuring it out with Jamala, but he's still dating Kayla, right? Not only is he dating Kayla and Jamala, and I forgot who the other girl was that said, nah, he ain't dating me because I ain't part of this. Treynika. Uh-huh. Yeah, Treynika said, I'm not part of this. He's talking, but he's telling Jamala that he's not messing with nobody. Randall said, I'm just still trying to figure it out. I like all of them. I haven't figured it out. And you had Katie in backstage, somebody, he just need to be a man. Man up. Say something. I
find it funny that she's saying he need to man up and pick somebody, but I didn't hear all this talking when it came to Samson.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I didn't hear all that talking when it came to Samson. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not saying Randall couldn't man up. He said, I'm in this triangle. I'm in the middle. And it's hard for me to choose. It's like I liked all of them. I didn't really know how to go. And, they played that clip of how Jamala came in the room and interrupted him and Kayla. And, they were like, you stomped in there, had a temper tantrum. And that's when Jamala and Kayla got into it. And then Treynika chimed in. He don't even claim you outside of here.
And everybody backstage like, ooh, wow. But I think the issue what Jamala said was, if he would have told me going into the house that I'm still going to play the field, I still haven't figured things out, then it would have been okay. But she said I kind of was like blindsided because in his room, I got my clothes in his room, I claimed the territory, and you're in here tickling his whatever. But
in the end, Tommy said, like, whose room was it? Randall was like, it's my room.
It was my room.
It was in our room.
He can have anybody he wanted.
It was my room.
But he didn't communicate to her what what the plan was.
Come on, bruh.
That was her biggest thing. Like he hadn't figured it out.
We're not going to this retreat.
Right.
Just to be with one person. No, this is where you can dwindle it down.
Play the field.
But I'm not coming in here off the top like. But she said, you know, he told me he had put me at the top of the pack or whatever. But
if you go back to that retreat resort episode, he went on a date with all three of them.
He did.
He went on a date with him and Trey Nico in the game. Him and Jamala had some pool time, and him and Kayla had some time in the room and in the night. And so he still was trying to figure out where he wanted to go. And Kayla kept saying playing second fiddle, and Jamala wasn't having it. Even coming back to the reunion, Jamala wasn't having any of this situation because she's sitting on there like, oh, we're figuring it out. And Tommy like, what's figuring it out mean?
Yeah, she did not look happy. And like when the lady started going at it, Randall said, "See, that's what it was at the house at the retreat." And she was like, "No, we didn't have no arguments." Then he was like, "It's not the arguments, but the competition, the one trying to leapfrog over the other one. Like it's just too much for me. It still is.
It's a lot because again, he didn't claim her on camera. He didn't claim her off camera. And that was one of the problems she had. Like, yo, when are you going to make me yours? And even with Kayla, he never really claimed anybody to say this is, as Sharice won, who was his number one, right? Who was his number two? Who was his number three? He never really claimed. He still played the field. And it almost seemed like Randall's hoping he got to the end. Or that the guys would make the choice for him by eliminating the other two people, which never got eliminated. You know, that was one of the things that they never got eliminated. So it seemed like he wanted to make them his choice. But he said that he's stressed out. He looked like he didn't know what to do.
Even at the end when she had her final thoughts, and Randall was like, ugh. And Tommy said, "You got something to say?" He's like, "I ain't got nothing to say.
I ain't got nothing to say, dog. It's too
I'm
long.
I've
been beat up. I've been run through the mud.
I'm over it.
I'm over it. I'm done."
So Tommy got into the Kadian and Swayze thing. You know, we know Kadian and Swayze had their issues with communication. Just a little friction rub there. Like they was feeling each other, but the communication was an issue. We brought up the thing when he met with her friend Ching, how she don't date. How you said you don't date black women, and you know Swayze got offended by that. And
he said, "I date everybody." I mean, again, I date everybody. He says again tonight. He said, "My woman black." My woman black. Tommy asked him, "Do you date
my girl? Yeah, do you date black women?" Because his thing was, my daughter's mother is black.
Yeah.
My daughter is black, and he put in perspective, which a lot of us do. You date really what's in your area when you're in, he said, high school, and in college he started to open up some and explore other, races, nationalities, whatever you want to call it, to date. And so he didn't appreciate being pigeonholed like that. But Looney put it in perspective. She said the issue is that why black women get in an uproar is when black men say they specifically don't date black women. Like, you're a black man. How do you exclude black women from your pool? True. And that's the part that irritates people. Because he was like, I didn't understand, what that was. I think when Looney put it like that, which I still don't understand why he didn't get it, but he kind of got it. But Tommy's like, where y'all at now? Y'all had communication issues, and Swayze was like, we still have our hiccups, but I knew that once we both self-eliminated, she called me right afterwards. He was like, oh, this girl loved me. Like, I know she's real. And, they both said they were there. This is my soulmate. He said same with me. So they're still on and popping. That's what they doing.
That's what they doing. That's what they doing. I mean, I think the relationship is kind of, it seemed like it could be vital.
I should say volatile.
I'm about to say volatile. I want to make sure it seems like it could be, at any moment, something can blow that bad boy up. At any moment, they could be at each other's throat. But she says they try to get better. She said they're trying to get better and they're trying to do better. So I only can take their word for it. She said they're trying to do better and get better. So guess what they're trying to do? Do better and get better. there. But I mean, I like them together. They all bundled up. They cute.
I like it.
I think they can work it out. I mean, I'm not knocking it. It's black love, and if he can handle her, and then she can handle him, and let them go ahead and do what they do together.
I don't think Swayze's hard to handle. I think it's a matter of Swayze handling Katie and allowing him to bring her down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When she gets to them highs.
Well, she seems like she gets on the highs a lot.
Well, she said with the thing with her and Sharice, she was like, you know, I apologize, coming out of character. And I was like, you did that several times. At this point, I don't think that's coming out of character.
Right.
I think that is your character. But
that's who you are.
Mm-hmm. But, so where we land at is Brandy and Mike. And we get to see their journey and when it came down to Mike choosing her and, you know, where they think they're going. And, like, Looney was, like, over the moon back there listening, even with everybody watching their little film. Everybody was, like, touched, like, oh, my gosh, that's, like, real love. And the biggest thing that stuck out to me is Mike was, like, you know, when she said that she never been in a serious relationship, never been in love like that, I want to make it my business to show her that I could be the man to bring her to that place. And so,
yeah, he can be the one. And everybody, that's when everybody was like, oh, he wanted to be the one to bring her into what a relationship is. He wanted to be the one to show her. He wants to be the one to kind of cover her and protect her and move this thing along. And she's like, this is my man. And Tommy, like, where y'all at now?
They was like, we dating exclusive, like, we into each other real bad.
Yeah, we into each other.
Real
we're
bad.
Good. We're into each other. We're not worried about nobody else but us. But us.
I like them.
Yeah, I think
I always have the whole season. I feel like it's almost like Joy and Clifton. I mean, it's like when you see what you want. I mean, it just, like, I'm going to do the process, but I know that's what I want.
I mean, like,
Mike said it was magnetic.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, it was magnetic. I was attracted to her off from the jump. So it's like,
why everybody have, everybody talk about Joey Clifton, and then even, let's put it here, Mike and Brandy. But when you get to Camille and Cornelius, people have an issue. Why she couldn't just gravitate to my man?
She could, but
and be what it is. Maybe because she was extra.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I think it's because she was extra. But again, it's love at first sight. I mean, love at first sight. It is ready to love, right? So if you find somebody on day one and that's who you want to love, guess what y'all should do? Date.
Mm-hmm.
You found somebody, y'all connected, y'all there. I've always said that. If you find somebody on day one and they boot you off on day three, but you and the day one chick are good, guess what? She should go with you. Because y'all want to explore each other. Y'all think y'all want to be in a relationship together. Let it be where it's at. Where's that? But, they talked to Calvin a little bit. Not that much. They just talked to Calvin. Calvin and April had a conversation. Mm-hmm. They realized they was from the same little area. They knew about some people and some things. So hopefully Calvin and April could hook up. And that's be another relationship from there. We know Swayze and Katie are still together. And Mike and Brandy. And that's where we left off at. Everybody was happy. And Tommy told Mike and Brandy their wedding bells. Send your boy.
I want an invite.
Send your boy an invite, right? Send your boy an invitation. Let me get there. But all in all, this season, Ready Love, I'm not going to say it was the best. I ain't going to say it was the worst.
I definitely have some favorites.
Yeah.
Like, I understand how Sharice feel about Samson, but I like Samson. I love Brandy and Mike. You know what? I didn't really care for Justice that much, but I can see Justice and Looney. Like, okay. And Trinika, like I said, was attached at the hip with LJ.
Yeah. And LJ attached at the hip with somebody else. And LJ attached at the hip with somebody else. Mm-hmm. And LJ's having a, whatever LJ's doing with his ex-girlfriend, because Tommy also mentioned, like, did she dress you today? And LJ like, yeah, she did. So anyway, LJ's messing with whoever he's messing with. But again, like I said, not the best season of Married at First. Best season of Ready to Love, but also not the worst season of Ready to Love. It's somewhere.
What show were you reviewing again?
Oh, Ready to Love. It's Ready to Love.
Okay.
Ready to Love. It's somewhere in the middle. So it's somewhere in the middle. It's good, man. It's just, you got the women and arguing. They can do without that, but I guess when you do reality TV and you do different personalities, you're gonna have that.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, but let us know what you thought of this season of Ready to Love. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Let us know. Do you think Randall and his love triangle will work? Do you think Randall should be with should Randall be with Jamala or Randall be with Kayla? And matter of fact, do Kayla still want Randall?
I think so.
After all
I
this
think so.
goes on and all this, would you still want to be with Randall?
I think so.
He's not.
I think so.
Okay, you think so? He's not choosing anybody though. That's the question. Y'all let us know. Leave a comment.
But at this point, we're outside the process. You ain't got to choose me. We can just date.
We can date. But he said he's been on a date with all of them. But again, you've been on a date with all of them. At this point, you should choose somebody or tell all of them to kiss your butt and not be with anybody. Or you still doing the whole roundabout thing that you've been doing in this triangle. Because, again, Trey Neekum let it be known that it's not a square. Oh, that's the funny thing, too. They showed some behind-the-scene footages and Sharon with her little symbols, getting ready, the energy, and that stuff right there is hilarious. But anyway, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Make sure you share this review and tell somebody else. Until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. Peace.